any of you have ever done any kind of clinical pastoral education or any kind of education kind of teaching experience, when you've been asked to bring in a case study to analyze some of your work and learn from an experience that maybe if a similar interaction were to occur, you may do it better next time. And in the clergy world, we do something called clinical pastoral education, and it's generally done in a hospital setting, and we would meet on a weekly basis on your 10-week block in the hospital, and you would write up verbatims with patients, and you would write up a little short interaction, and you would sit in a group of about 5 or 6 people, and they would analyze your interaction and tell you where you could have done better. If Jesus had brought this in to that group, he would have definitely got the response of, you could have done that better. So let's imagine Jesus was learning, and we're going to do a kind of like little analysis of what was going on. Jesus is the identified patient in this. He's brought this case study along, and he's had this interaction. So what's the first thing that happens? This woman is running to him, going, "Have mercy on me, son of David. My daughter is tormented by a demon." And what did Jesus do? Nothing. Closed his ears. How many of us, when we don't want to acknowledge something, just turn our backs? That's actually quite a normal response. So far, Jesus is just probably doing what any normal human being would do if they don't actually want to deal with the situation. But clearly this woman is being persistent, because then the crowd that is around Jesus asked Jesus to send her away. The disciples urged Jesus, "Send her away, because she is basically bothering us." Would Jesus, the Son of Man, send somebody away? You would hope not. But he replies, going, "I was sent only for the lost sheep of the house of Israel." Oh, Jesus. Oh, you could have phrased that differently. Oh, that's divisive. Instantly, you've drawn a line. Instantly, you've said, "I'm here for these people and not for you." But how many of us have done something similar? How many of us have said something like, "That's not my job," or "They're not related to me," or "They're foreigners"? It is so easy to draw a line. So we'll give Jesus that line drawing. But this is the bit that is hard. And it's hard for us to admit, because for a lot of times we feel that Jesus was completely sinless. Jesus was completely divine all the time. But these words came out of his mouth. It is not fair to take children's food and throw it to the dogs. So not only did he draw a line and say, you are different than me, he actually said, you are not worthy. And if this was a pastoral care setting, we would say, you've really got to learn from this experience. that wasn't great at all. How are you going to redeem yourself? Because you've just told that woman she is not worthy of being a human. You have lowered her to a really low status. Thankfully, this woman had the strength to hold up a mirror and challenge Jesus and say, even dogs eat the crumbs from the table. But how many of the people that have been marginalized and have been downgraded have the strength to challenge the system? And Jesus changes his mind and heals the woman's daughter. Now, we don't get the best part of the story, because we don't get the self-talk that's going on in Jesus' head that actually I want to know. Because I want to know how Jesus felt. I want to know, how he moved on. Because my issue is it's hard enough to admit that I've made a mistake. And then even if I've managed to kind of make up for that mistake that I've made, how do you then forgive yourself for making that mistake? Even if you've made up with the person that you've hurt. And that isn't in the story. And so that's why the pastoral care model kind of helps, because we then go and kind of say, well, how does this case study affect our lives? And this story helps me to see that Jesus was human. Even Jesus makes mistakes every so often. But the important thing is that we learn from our mistakes and we try and make up for them. But then how do we kind of reconcile ourselves and reconcile us with the person that we've hurt? The other important thing is that Jesus had the important message to learn, that he didn't just come into the world just for a select group of people. He came into the world for everyone. So even though we come here to be part of the Christian community, we are in this world to be part of the wide world of faith communities and to live in peace with one another. What does it mean to be fully reconciled with one another and with the world? What was lovely about the Old Testament reading was when the two brothers finally met. You got a sense that there actually was some healing that went on when they both wept on each other's shoulders. What healing needs to occur in your hearts? How do you heal when you have been wronged? How do you know when you have wronged others? And also, how do you thank the people that have held up the mirrors to point out your mistakes, even if it's painful to hear? The woman in the story had great power and conviction because she wanted her daughter to be well. But there are so many people in the world that want to be healed that haven't got the support to do that. So we need to be their support so that all of the world can be well. The presiding bishop has asked us to pray a special prayer at the end of our intercessions for world peace, because so much of the world is suffering. How can we break down those barriers that Jesus himself fell into? If we learn one thing from the story, know that Jesus was human. Jesus fell into those gaps of drawing up false boundaries, but know that those boundaries are human and can be taken down, and all can be one in God's eyes. Amen. Amen.